2,000 years ago, in the very poorest of circumstances, in a remote corner of the world, a child was born. Not a remarkable event at all, except that this birth had been foretold for ages by Jewish prophets and pagan oracles, for this child was God. Now, most of us have heard this from the time we were children, and so perhaps we have never really stopped to consider what an extraordinary thing this is. If the wealthiest, most comfortable person in the world suddenly became a street person, we would think immediately that either he has made some atrocious investments or has lost his mind entirely. And yet this is nothing compared with the step down that God took to become one of us. Not forced by circumstances or insanity. This was done purely out of love. God did not send us a book on how to live. God lived. And that is the most wonderful thing that has ever occurred. For in becoming one of us, God showed us the worth and dignity of the human person. God loves me as I am. God made me this way and delights in who I am. God even became like me to prove the point. It is my job to be myself as I was made to be. This was the revolution of the Christmas mystery. Oscar Wilde had a brilliant insight into this when he said, "Know thyself" was written over the portal of the antique world. The message of Christ to man was simply, be thyself. That is the secret of Christ. The Christ taught us to be ourselves when he chose to be one of us. And all can see themselves as in a mirror in the understanding eyes of the God-made flesh. How different our world should have become since that blessed moment so many years ago. If God, who is so infinitely superior to us in every way, can accept and embrace us to the point of being one with us, how can we possibly act any differently with one another? Since that moment, how can we possibly look down on others for being different in some way from ourselves? Since that moment, how can we possibly not embrace the rich and colorful diversity in human nature? From that blessed moment when God embraced me in such a marvelous way, my refusal to accept others has been shown to be the height of absurdity. This is the message and mystery of Christmas: tolerance, acceptance, and the divine embrace we call love. 200 years ago, there was a young priest in a remote village in Austria who understood this message. Father Joseph Mohr had a profound understanding of the human heart and understood people better than they understood themselves. So, of course, he was not understood or accepted. Like Jesus, he mixed easily with those who were looked down upon and regarded as sinners by the self-righteous people of the day. So, of course, he was looked down upon himself and became, like Jesus, an outcast. Then came Christmas Eve, 1818, and even the mice seemed to be against him because they ate holes in the church organ, rendering it completely unusable. Father Joseph prayed by the crib, and as if in a dream, as if from angels, words came to his mind, a poem, a song. Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, silent night, holy night. He stroked the hair of the child in the manger, smiling as he composed the verse in his mind. All is calm, all is bright. The priest now was confident. Not even the mice could ruin the Christmas celebration. He knocked at the door of his friend, Franz Gruber, the church organist, and shared with him the beautiful words. Franz immediately came up with a simple melody to fit the simple message. At the Mass, he reached for his guitar and began playing the new composition, and the two of them began to sing for the very first time that song that has become the best known and best loved song of all the world, Silent Night. Into the church marched all the so-called sinners and outcasts. Father Joseph had gone to the taverns and the streets. These were his friends. They understood him, and he understood them. Now they found their way to church, where they had never before found a place for themselves. With their whole heart and soul, they listened and joined in the singing. So it was that on that Christmas Eve, all God's children were able to adore the newborn Son of God. All could celebrate and pray together. All were able to experience and give the love and embrace that is Christmas. All because a young priest, Joseph Mohr, understood that God's love is for all, that in God's zoo there is room enough for all of us, and that just maybe those who are outcast by society are those who are best beloved by God. Today, as we sing that marvelous song, first sung exactly 200 years ago, let us remember in our hearts all our friends and loved ones who were still singing and celebrating with us last Christmas and who are now no longer with us. All those dear ones for whom now all is calm, all is bright. May they smile down upon us now as they sleep in heavenly peace.